All right, this is your lesson on supplementary angles. Remember yesterday we learned about complementary angles, and complementary angles are two angles that when put together make a 90-degree angle. Well, today we're going to learn about supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are two angles that have a sum of 180 degrees. So one of the hardest parts of this chapter is differentiating complementary angles from supplementary angles. And one way that I think about that is supplementary and straight both start with an S, and they are both equal to 180 degrees. That's how I usually keep them straight. Another way you could do it is say C comes before S, and 90 comes before 180. That's another way to keep them straight. But the biggest thing about this chapter is remembering complementary is 90 degrees and supplementary is 180. So just like the other day, we're going to start by telling whether each pair of angles are supplementary or not. So I have angle A that's 96 degrees and angle B that's 84 degrees. So just like the other day, we need to add these together. And when we add them together, if we come up with 180, then I would say yes, they are supplementary. Okay, so here I have 16 and 74. Okay, so 6 plus 4 is 10. And I came up with 90. So I'd say no, these are not supplementary, but they are complementary angles. Okay, so I have 36 degrees and 164 degrees. So I'm going to add those two angles together. And when I do that, I get 200. And 200, nope, that's too big. I need to be less than that. I need to be 180 degrees. Okay, and then the last one is 32 degrees and 108 degrees. So I have 108 plus 32. I'm thinking right away you can probably figure out that this is not going to work, but we're going to show the math to prove it. And I get 140. So again, no, those are not supplementary angles. Supplementary angles have to add up to 180 degrees. And it's just two angles. It's just a pair of angles that add up to 180 degrees. All right, so this next part says, name three pairs of supplementary angles. Okay, so remember, supplementary are angles that add up to 180 degrees. So something that's sometimes useful in this chapter is grabbing a Post-it or a spare sheet of paper because it's nice to cover things up every once in a while. So supplementary creates a straight line. So I'm going to take my Post-it and I'm going to cover up this part of the diagram. And when I do that, I see a set of supplementary angles here. I see this angle right here and this angle right here create a straight line. And now I just need to name those angles. So when I'm naming them, I would say B, my vertex is F, A, so this is angle BFA, and angle, and then this one right here, we would call that EFA. So there's one set of supplementary angles. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to choose to cover it up like this time. Okay, and I see this angle and this angle would form a straight line, which would mean they're supplementary angles. So again, I just have to identify those. So this angle right here is angle AFE. So AFE. Oops. And this angle right here, I gotta look right here, it's D. So DFE. So angle DFE. That's another pair of supplementary angles. So let's try it again. I'm going to look this time at this one right here. Okay, now remember, a supplementary angles has to be a pair of angles. Pair means two. And right now, I see three angles creating a straight line. So I'm going to say this angle right here. But then I'm going to say this angle right here. There is an angle right here that looks like this. And that would be a pair of supplementary angles. So looking at this first angle right here, that would be angle AFB. So I'm going to say angle AFB. And then when I look at this angle right here that we drew in, that's angle BBFD. So angle BFD. That's another pair of supplementary angles. So I named my 3 pairs of supplementary angles. Now there's other ones that you could have done on here. Those are just the 3 that I chose. Okay, moving on. It says to find the supplement of the following angles. Okay, remember, if I'm finding the supplement, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So if I know one of them is 19 degrees, I'm going to say 180 minus 19. And I'm going to borrow a little bit. When I do that, I get the answer 161 degrees. Okay, what if one of the angles given was 64? Well, again, I know they have to add up to 180 because they're supplementary. So I'm going to take 64 away from that. You'll see a lot of borrowing this chapter. 10 minus 4 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down the 1. I know 64 and 116 degree angle would be supplementary. Okay, this one we might be able to do in our head. So I have a 180 degree angle and a 99 degree angle. Okay, so I know if it was 100 degree angles, it would be left with 80, but because there's one more than that, it would be an 81 degree angle. I mean, I can prove it like this. Let's see, this would become a 7, and then I would say 17 minus 9, that is in fact 8. Okay, and last one, again, these have to be supplementary, so they add up to 180 minus 154. I'm going to borrow and subtract, and I find out that its supplement is a 26 degree angle. So hopefully, so far you're understanding. Now let's flip it to the back, where it gets a little bit trickier, just like the back on yesterday's notes do. So it says, set up an equation and solve to find the value of x, then find the measure of each missing angle. So there's 2 things we need to do here. Well, actually 3. We need to set up an equation, we need to solve for x, and then we have to find the measure of the missing angles. So when I look here, I see supplementary angles. I see right here, well, I see angles that form a straight line. We should put it that way because it's not supplementary because there's 3 of them here, but they're angles that add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to say this angle right here, which has the value of 3x, plus this one, which is 96, plus this angle right here, which is x, they all come together to form a straight line, and I know a straight line is 180 degrees. So there's my equation. Okay, I've done the first part, set up an equation. Second part is solve for the value of x. So before I solve, I'm going to see if there's anything I can combine, and I can combine the 3x and the x. 3x plus x is 4x, plus 96 equals 180. Now I'm going to drop my line and solve just like I did in last chapter. Working away from the variable first, I need to deal with this positive 96, so I'm going to subtract 96 away. Okay, that leaves me 4x on this side equals, and then over here, I'm going to borrow and make this a 7. And 17 minus 9 is 8. So I have 4x equals 84. Okay, but I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide by 4. And when I do that, I'm left with x over here and 84 divided by 4. We should be able to do this in our head. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 goes into 4 1 time. So I know x equals 21. Okay, so I've done 2 things. I made my equation. I solved for x. I know x is 21. Then find the measure of each missing angle. Well, this one we know because we know x equals 21, so then we know that this one is 21 degrees. Now we just have to figure out this one. And it says 3x. So I would say 3 times x, which we know x is 21. So 3 times 21. would give me 63. So I know that this angle is a 63-degree angle. Now, if I want to be responsible on a test, I would add 63 and 96 and 21 together to make sure I, in fact, get 180 degrees, which you will. Okay, so let's try it again. Here I have a straight line, and I know a straight line is worth 180 degrees. So I know if I add up this and this and this, I'm going to get the 180 degrees I need. So I see a 120-degree angle plus an angle that's worth 2x plus an angle that's worth x. And I know together they form a straight line making 180 degrees. Okay, I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have 2x plus x. So I have 120 plus 3x equals 180 degrees. And now I drop my line and solve. Okay, here's my variable, so I'm not going to do the 3 yet. I want to do this 120. Now, this is a positive 120, and the opposite of positive 120 is negative 120. I'm going to subtract away 120, and I'm left with 3x on this side and 60 on this side. Now I want to get the x by itself, and right now it's being multiplied by 3, so I need to divide by 3. That will leave me x equals 20. Okay, I've done the second part. I made my equation first. I solved for x second, and now I got to figure out my missing degrees. So one of them's already done for me because one of them was just x, and we know that's 20. Okay, and then this one right here, that says 2 times x, and x we said was 20, so 2 times 20 is 40. So I know that this is a 40-degree angle right in here. Ignore these directions. The directions are actually the same for the rest of this paper. So I want you to write an equation, solve for x, and then find the measure of the missing angle. Okay, so I'm going to say 180-degree straight line. I'm going to do 40 plus this angle is worth 5x minus 15. And I don't need the parentheses in there. I can take them away. Equals 180 degrees. Okay, combine my like terms. I have some constants here I can combine. I see 40 minus 15. That would give me 25 plus 5x equals 180. Okay, so I have my equation. I'm going to drop my line and solve. Working away from the variable first, I want to deal with this positive 25, and the opposite of positive 25 is negative 25. So I'm going to subtract 25 away. That gives me 5x equals, let's borrow here, 155. Okay, but that's for 5x's, and I only want to know what it is for 1x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. I'm going to get x equals 155 divided by 5. Well, I think I can do this in my head. Okay, 15, 5 goes into 15 3 times. And then 5 goes into 5 one time. So I know x is equal to 31. And again, if you have to do the long division to figure that out, that is perfectly fine. You don't have to do it in your head. But I know some of you can. And if you can, might as well. So x equals 31. Great. Now I need to find the value of this right here. So I would say 5 times 31 minus 15. Order of operations would tell me to do this part first, and we actually already know that because we undid it up here. We did 155 divided by 5 is 31, so I also know that 5 times 31 is 155 minus 15. That'll give me 140 degrees. Okay, let's try it again. So I have right here, these two angles will form a straight angle, which is 180 degrees. So this is a pair of supplementary angles because it's two angles that create 180 degrees. So I'm going to say the first one is x minus 5 plus my second one that is 29. Together, they form a straight line of 180 degrees, supplementary angles. I'm going to combine my like terms. So I'm going to combine my negative 5 and my positive 29. And when I do that, I get x plus 24. My signs were different, so I subtracted the numbers and kept the sign of the larger number. Equals 180. Now I'm going to drop my line and solve for x. I see a positive 24, so I'm going to subtract 24. And I'm left with x equals, and I come over here, I'm going to borrow. I get x equals 156. So I know x is 156 degrees. But I want to figure out what the measure of this angle is. So I'm going to say 156 minus 5 equals, and I know that's 151 degrees. Last one. Ooh, I have a set of intersecting lines here. But if I cover up the bottom part of it, we can see that really all this is right here is a pair of supplementary angles. They are two angles right here and right here that create a 180 degree straight line. So just like before, I'm going to say this angle, which is 2x plus 4, plus this angle, which is 6x. Together, they form a straight line of 180 degrees. I'm going to combine my like terms. So now I have 8x plus 4 equals 180 degrees. I'm going to drop my line and solve. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, working away from the variable first. So over here, I'm left with 8x equals, I'm going to borrow 176. Okay. Now, the 8 and the x are next to each other, which means multiplication. And of course, the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 8. When I do that, it leaves me just x over here. I'm going to do 176 divided by 8. Okay. Can't go into 1, but it does go into 17 two times, which will give me 16. So I'll have 1 left over. Bring down my 6. 8 can go into 16 two times, and I know it goes in exactly. So I know x has a value of 22. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to plug in that 22 so that I can solve this. I'm going to start with this one, 6x. So I know that means 6 times x, and we now know x is 22. So 6 times 22. All right, 22 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So I know that this is a 132 degree angle. Okay, and then we're going to do it over here. So I have 2x plus 4. So 2x is 2 times x, and we know x is 22, plus 4. Order of operations tells me to do this first. So 2 times 22 is 44, plus 4 should give me 48. This is a 48 degree angle in here. And then sure enough, if I add 132 plus 48 together, it better give me 180 degrees, and sure enough, it does.